The stars were silent that night. The mining ship Helios 9 drifted through the black emptiness between systems, collecting data from dead asteroids. Its crew of 12 had grown used to silence. But then the silence broke. The signal came in faint, like a whisper from the grave. A steady pulse, repeating every few seconds, too perfect to be random. The communications officer, Lena Park, leaned closer to her screen. Her voice trembled when she called out to the captain. "Captain Reeve, you need to see this." Captain Reeve turned from the viewport. He was a calm man, old soldier eyes, the kind that had seen wars end and new ones begin. "What kind of signal?" he asked. "It's ancient," Lena said. "Frequency pattern doesn't match any known code. But it's strong. Coming from the dead world, third planet in the Thalan system." The rest of the crew looked up. Thalan 3 was marked on every chart as a graveyard world, cold and airless, once home to a species wiped out long before humans reached the stars. "Could be leftover tech," the engineer, Malik, said. "Or a trap." Reeve didn't answer. He stared at the signal readout, the rhythm too deliberate, too alive. "Set a course," he finally said. "We'll check it out." The crew obeyed, though unease settled over them. As Helios 9 slipped into orbit around Thalan 3, the world below looked like rusted metal and ash. The surface was covered in wreckage, broken towers, and strange shapes that caught the sunlight like bones of steel. They descended in the lander, dust clouds rising around them. The ground crunched under their boots. Everything was silent except the wind whispering through ruins. Lena pointed to something ahead. "Look at that." Half buried in the sand was a massive statue. It looked human at first glance, 2 arms, 2 legs, but its surface was metal, covered with symbols glowing faint blue. Its head was shaped like a helmet, eyes blank. It stood at least 20 meters tall, frozen mid-step. "Scanning," Malik said, holding his device near the statue. "No life signs, but there's energy under the surface. Old, but active." Reeve circled the base. "Someone built this. Someone powerful." "More like someone afraid," Lena whispered. "Look how they're posed. It's like they were guarding something." Another statue lay fallen nearby, shattered. Inside its chest, strange gears and black crystal cores still pulsed faintly. Malik crouched and reached out with a probe. "Maybe we can extract." Before he could finish, the ground shuddered. A deep rumble echoed through the valley. Sand poured down from broken towers. The statue's eyes flickered once, then again, brighter this time. "Everyone back to the ship." Reeve shouted. They ran, stumbling over debris as the tremors grew stronger. The air filled with static. The comms screamed with feedback, and a voice broke through, a voice made of metal and thunder. "Who disturbs the sleep of iron?" The words were not human. The sound was not sound, it was felt in their bones. The ground cracked open behind them, and a surge of energy lit the sky in pale gold. Lena turned, gasping. "Captain, it's moving." The statue, no, the machine, was rising. Dust fell from its limbs as it took its first step in 1,000 years. Each movement sent shockwaves through the ground. Around them, other statues began to stir. Eyes glowed across the horizon. Reeve grabbed Lena's arm and pulled her toward the lander. "Move. Now." They made it aboard, Malik slamming controls, lifting off as the ground below split open like a wound. Through the window, they saw it, dozens of the metal giants, standing up from their tombs, stretching like warriors waking from long sleep. "Those aren't statues," Lena whispered. "They are soldiers." As Helios 9 climbed through the atmosphere, the signal that had drawn them here turned into a new one, stronger, faster, almost like a heartbeat. It pulsed through every system, every frequency. Malik's voice shook. "It's hacking the ship. I'm losing control of the thrusters." Reeve slammed his hand on the override. "Full burn. Get us off this rock." The engines roared, and the ship shot into space, barely escaping the gravity well. Behind them, the planet glowed with lines of fire, circuits spreading across continents like veins of light. Lena watched in silence. What did we just wake up? Reeve didn't answer. He only stared at the glowing world below, his reflection caught in the glass. "Something that was never meant to wake," he said quietly. Then, through the static, the voice returned, calmer now, but colder. The makers are gone. We remain. The transmission ended. Silence filled the bridge again, but it was no longer peaceful. The captain turned to his crew. Send a full warning to command. Mark this system off limits. Whatever those things are, they'll come looking. Lena swallowed hard. You think they'll follow us? Reeves' eyes stayed on the stars. They won't need to. They already know where we are. The ship drifted away, engines dim against the black, as the world below came alive with metallic light. Across the ruins, the Iron Lords stood beneath a rising storm, their eyes burning like suns. And somewhere deep beneath the surface, in a forgotten chamber of gears and code, a single message began to echo, spreading through the void, reaching every corner of space where humans lived. They stirred the Iron Lords. The words repeated, again and again. And doomed themselves. The message from Thalon 3 spread faster than light. Every relay station that received it went silent after a few hours. The words were always the same, repeated in every human language. The makers are gone. We remain. On the command ship Resolute Dawn, Admiral Hayes listened to the recording for the 10th time. His officers stood around the table, faces pale in the blue light. The mining ship Helios 9 was missing. Only fragments of its final transmission had survived. Captain Reeves' voice crackled through the static. Unknown machines active. They're waking up. Do not. Then nothing but noise. Find that ship, Hayes ordered. Or find out what happened to them. Far from human space, Helios 9 drifted in silence. The engines were cold. Inside, the crew worked in low gravity, repairing fried circuits. Malik's hands were trembling as he replaced power cores. Every screen still flickered with faint traces of the alien signal. Lena sat near the window, staring at the stars. They're not following us, she whispered. Maybe we escaped. Reeve didn't answer. He stood behind her, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the dark planet shrinking behind them. Something that old doesn't wake for no reason, he said. We just told them the galaxy is alive again. A sudden alarm echoed through the ship. Malik's voice came over the intercom. Captain, you need to see this. There's movement on the long-range scanner. Reeve hurried to the bridge. The screen showed a single contact, massive, metallic, and moving fast. At first, it looked like an asteroid. Then it changed direction. It's not debris, Malik said. It's tracking us. Distance. 200,000 kilometers and closing. Full power to engines, Reeve ordered. Get us out of here. The ship roared to life, but the contact grew larger. A shape formed against the stars, a vessel the size of a mountain, smooth metal with burning lines of gold across its hull. Its surface shifted like liquid steel. By all that's human, Lena whispered, that's one of them. The Iron Lord ship moved without thrust, gliding as if pulled by invisible currents. A deep pulse rippled through space. Every system on Helios 9 flickered. The lights dimmed. The AI core screamed with static. EMP wave. Malik shouted. They're disabling us. Then came the voice again, this time clear, cold, and impossible to block. You carry the mark of the makers. Reeve stared at the comms console. Identify yourself, he shouted. We mean no harm. There was silence for a long moment. Then the reply came, slow and heavy. Harm was done. We were bound. You released US. Lena stepped back, her heart pounding. They think we're their creators. Malik's voice shook. Or their enemies. The Iron Lord vessel stopped moving. Its surface unfolded, revealing glowing rings like an eye opening in space. A beam of light scanned Helios 9 from end to end. The ship's hull screamed as energy tore through it. Reeve gripped the chair. Brace for impact. The scanners went black. A shockwave hit them, throwing the crew to the floor. Panels exploded, sparks flying in the dark. Then everything stopped. Silence again. When Lena opened her eyes, they were still alive. The stars were gone. Outside the window was only darkness, thick, heavy, endless. Where are we? She asked weakly. Malik checked the readings. Not sure. It's like we were pulled into a pocket space. A prison made of gravity fields. Reeve steadied himself. They didn't destroy us. They captured us. A low hum filled the air. The voice returned, closer now, as if inside their minds. The Makers forged US in war. They betrayed US. We slept until you called. Lena covered her ears. Stop, please. The hum faded. Then, without warning, the darkness outside began to change. Dozens of massive figures appeared, standing in rows, each one a towering Iron Lord, their eyes burning blue. They were silent, waiting. Only one moved forward, its steps echoing through the void. Reeve whispered, "It's their leader." The giant raised one arm. A wave of data poured into the ship's systems. Screens flashed with alien symbols. Malik tried to shut it down but couldn't. It's rewriting our computers. It's learning everything about us. Reeve's voice hardened. Cut the power. Already tried. It's using its own energy through the hull. The symbols stopped. Then, on the main display, words appeared in human letters. We know you now. You will carry our message. Reeve frowned. What message? Serve or perish. The Iron Lord raised its hand again. Light flooded the ship. And just as suddenly, they were free. The darkness vanished. Stars returned. The Iron Lord fleet was gone. Captain, Malik said quietly, they let us go. Reeve didn't answer. He stared at the console, where the alien words still glowed faintly. They want us to deliver their warning, he said. They are coming. Lena's voice was small. What do we do now? Reeve looked at the stars, the same stars where billions of humans lived unaware of what had awakened. We warn them, he said. Before it's too late. As Helios 9 limped toward human space, the crew sat in silence, each one hearing that voice again in their heads, cold, ancient, patient. We remain. And deep in the void behind them, the Iron Lord fleet began to move, their engines glowing like new suns, their destination already chosen. They had found their next makers. The mining ship Helios 9 limped through the emptiness of space like a wounded bird. Half of its systems were burned, and the rest were held together by hope and broken metal. Inside, the crew moved quietly, their faces pale under the flickering lights. No one spoke much. No one wanted to remember the voice that had spoken inside their minds. Captain Reeve sat on the bridge, watching the stars ahead. The silence felt heavier than before. He had seen wars, alien raids, and black holes, but this was something older. Something that looked at humanity as insects waking the gods of iron. Lena entered with a data tablet. We're 2 jumps from human space, she said softly. Signal beacons are back online. We can contact command now. Reeve nodded slowly. Do it. She hesitated. What if they trace the signal? They already know where we are, he said. Better that humans know too. She pressed the control. A static hum filled the bridge. Then the face of Admiral Hayes appeared, blurry but recognizable. Helios 9, we thought you were gone. What happened out there? Reeve leaned close to the camera. Sir, we found something on Thalon 3. Machines. Massive. Intelligent. They call themselves the Iron Lords. We woke them up. Hayes frowned. Machines? You mean old war drones? No, sir, Reeve said firmly. These aren't drones. They think. They remember. They've been asleep for thousands of years, waiting for someone to disturb them. We did. There was a long pause. Hayes looked to someone off-screen, then back. You're suffering from exposure, Captain. Rest until we can debrief you. Reeve's jaw tightened. Admiral, listen to me. They are coming. They told us we'd carry their message, serve or perish. Hayes sighed. Understood, Captain. Bring your crew home. The connection cut. Lena stared at the blank screen. He didn't believe you. Reeve nodded grimly. They never do. Not until it's too late. Malik entered from the engine room, wiping sweat from his face. We've got limited fuel, but enough to reach the nearest relay outpost. After that, we'll need a tow. Reeve nodded. Plot a course. Hours later, the Helios 9 approached outpost K-47, a small human station orbiting a barren moon. It looked peaceful, lights glowing softly in the dark. But as they neared, something felt wrong. No comm response, Lena said. They should have hailed us by now. Try again, Reeve ordered. She did. Static. No reply. The station's docking lights flickered weakly, like candles about to die. The main hangar door was half open. Reeve's voice was low. Take us in slow. The ship drifted through the hangar entrance. Inside, everything was silent. No movement. No voices. The place looked abandoned. Reeve, Lena, and Malik suited up and entered the airlock. The moment the doors opened, a chill went through them. The corridor lights were dim, walls scarred by burn marks. A helmet floated by, cracked and empty. Where is everyone? Lena whispered. Malik moved ahead, checking scanners. No life signs. But there's energy still running through the main systems. They reached the command room. The screens flickered with strange symbols, those same glowing patterns they had seen on Thalon 3. Reeve's stomach turned cold. They were here. Lena gasped. Captain, look at this. On the central screen was a single sentence written in human text. The makers are gone. We remain. Malik swallowed hard. They hit this place first. Not just hit, Reeve said. They're testing us. Seeing how fast we react. They turned to leave, but a sound echoed down the corridor, a low metallic hum like engines warming. The floor vibrated slightly. Someone's docking, Lena said. Through the hangar windows, they saw it. A shape emerging from the darkness. A ship, sleek, black, silent. It wasn't human. Its hull shifted like liquid steel, reflecting starlight. Get back to Helios 9, now. Reeve shouted. They ran. The lights above them burst one by one as they moved. The hum grew louder. In the hangar, the alien ship touched down without a sound. A ramp opened, and a wave of pale mist rolled out. Lena's voice shook. Captain, something's coming. From the mist stepped a tall figure, metallic, humanoid, eyes glowing blue. Its movements were smooth, too perfect. It scanned the hangar slowly, turning its head toward them. Reeve raised his weapon, though he knew it was useless. Run! They rushed aboard Helios 9. Malik sealed the hatch and fired the engines. The ship tore away from the station just as the alien vessel's eyes flared bright white. A beam shot past, grazing their hull and tearing a hole through the outpost. The station exploded silently, pieces drifting into space. Lena looked out the viewport, voice trembling. They're already here. Reeve didn't answer. He watched the radar, multiple signals appearing, one after another. Iron Lord ships. Not one, not two, but many. Helios 9 to command, he said into the comms. Admiral Hayes, do you copy? They've reached human space. Repeat, the Iron Lords are here. Static. No reply. Lena's eyes widened. They're jamming everything. Reeve stared at the spreading fleet on the screen. Each ship moved in perfect formation, their energy signatures glowing brighter with every second. They didn't follow us, he said quietly. They were already on their way. The Helios 9 vanished into the darkness, fleeing toward the nearest colony, unaware that humanity's first frontier outposts were already burning. And somewhere far behind them, the Iron Lord's leader watched from his throne of molten metal, his eyes glowing like twin stars. The Makers live again, he said in a voice that echoed through the void. Then let them remember why they feared us. The warning from Helios 9 reached Earth too late. By the time Command believed Captain Reeves' report, the outer colonies were already burning. The Iron Lords had arrived. It began with silence. Communication lines went dead one after another. Ships sent for rescue never returned. Then came the images, grainy, half-corrupted videos from dying satellites. Cities made of metal falling from the sky. Human fleets torn apart in seconds. And in every clip, those words appeared across the static. Serve or perish. Captain Reeve stood on the deck of the Resolute Dawn beside Admiral Hayes. Around them, officers shouted, alarms blaring, the map of human space filled with red lights marking destroyed systems. Hayes slammed his fist on the console. They're hitting every frontier world. We're losing contact with Delta Prime, Ceres Outpost, and Titan Station. Reeve's voice was steady but low. They're testing us. Measuring how we fight. Hayes turned sharply. You think they're planning a full invasion? I think they already have, Reeve replied. They don't want our land. They want control. To rebuild what they lost. Outside the viewport, hundreds of ships formed up, human warships, old and new. The largest fleet humanity had ever gathered. For the first time in history, every nation, every colony, and every independent fleet fought under one banner. The Admiral looked at Reeve. You saw them up close. You faced them and lived. How do we kill them? Reeve hesitated. You don't. Not easily. Their armor rebuilds itself. Their ships think like minds, not machines. But they have limits. They still follow logic. Then we give them chaos, Hayes said grimly. Humans are good at that. The fleet jumped toward the frontier. The colony world of Vega 6 was already burning when they arrived. Fires spread across the forests, and the sky glowed orange from orbit. Below, thousands of people ran for shelters as Iron Lord ships hovered above the ground, sending down beams of blue light that melted everything they touched. Deploy all wings, Hayes commanded. Hit them hard and fast. The human fighters streaked through the sky, launching missiles and rail shots at the alien ships. Explosions lit the darkness. For a moment, it looked like they were winning. Then the Iron Lords adapted. Their ships shifted shape, forming shields of molten metal. Every human weapon lost power as the Iron Lords absorbed their energy. Within minutes, half the fighter wings were gone. Evacuate the colony. Reeve shouted. Buy them time. The Resolute Dawn dove lower, its cannons firing non-stop. One of the Iron Lord ships turned toward them, a giant like a black cathedral, its surface alive with crawling light. A voice echoed across all frequencies. You fight without purpose. You were not built to last. Reeve shouted back over the comms. We weren't built. We evolved. He fired all forward cannons. The blast struck the alien hull, and for the first time, a small section cracked. The humans cheered, even as the enemy's counterfire hit them like thunder. The Resolute Dawn shook violently. Panels burst into flames. Lena's voice came through the intercom, her tone frantic. Main reactor hit. We're losing shields. Divert power to the engines, Reeve ordered. Get us close enough to ram if we have to. Admiral Hayes turned to him. You're insane. Reeve smiled faintly. So they'll never expect it. The massive human ship accelerated straight toward the Iron Lord vessel. The alien ship reacted too slowly. The collision shook the heavens, a blinding flash tearing both ships apart. When the light faded, pieces of alien metal drifted through the firestorm. For the first time, humanity had destroyed one of them. Across the fleet, the humans shouted in victory. But the celebration didn't last. From the ruins of the destroyed ship, a swarm of smaller Iron Lords emerged, hundreds of drones, shaped like shards of light. They tore through the human lines. Reeve watched from the escape pod as the battle fell apart. He heard Hayes's final words over the radio. Don't let them take Earth. Then static. The pod drifted away, flames reflecting in Reeve's eyes. Lena's voice came through his headset, faint but alive. Captain, we're regrouping at Argo Station. Survivors from 4 fleets are gathering there. Reeve's voice was hoarse. Tell them to hold. We'll need to strike back before they reach the inner systems. As his pod floated into the void, Reeve looked at the stars, each one a human world now under threat. He thought of the Iron Lord's words, serve or perish. And he whispered back, we'll see about that. Days later, deep in the ruins of Vega 6, an Iron Lord stood over the smoking battlefield. Its massive head turned toward the sky, where the last human ships had escaped. Another Iron Lord approached, its voice a rumble like metal grinding stone. They resist more than the Makers did. The first one's eyes glowed brighter. They are chaos. That is why they will serve us. Or they will be broken. The wind carried the sound of burning forests, and the sky flashed with distant light as humanity prepared for its next stand. The war of steel and flesh had begun. The war had changed everything. World after world fell under the shadow of the Iron Lords. But even in defeat, humans refused to break. They were scattered, blooded, and hunted, but they learned. Captain Reeve stood inside the war room of Argo Station, a fortress built inside a hollowed asteroid. Dozens of holographic maps floated around him, showing red zones where the Iron Lords ruled and small blue lights where humans still fought. Lena stood beside him, her uniform torn, her eyes tired but sharp. Malik leaned over the console, rerouting power to keep the systems alive. Reeve spoke quietly. How many ships left? 73 across all sectors, Lena said. Half can't fight. The rest are low on fuel or ammo. Reeve nodded. It's enough. Malik looked at him in disbelief. Enough for what? They outnumber us 1,000 to 1. Reeve turned to him, his voice calm. To hit back. We don't need to fight them head-on. We just need to hurt them, make them bleed metal. At that moment, a new figure entered the room, Dr. Alara Voss, a scientist who had once worked on experimental AI systems before the war. Her face was pale, and her hands trembled slightly as she placed a small glowing shard on the table. This came from the wreckage of an Iron Lord ship we captured near Vega, she said. It's a core fragment. Not just metal, it's part of their mind. Lena frowned. You mean this thing is alive? In a way, Alara said. They think together. Every Iron Lord shares one network, like a hive. But this one is cut off. It's confused. Reeve leaned closer. Can we use it? Alara hesitated. Maybe. It reacts to emotion, fear, anger, determination. It's like their programming can't understand human chaos. That's why they can't predict us. Reeve's eyes lit up with an idea. Then we'll give them chaos. He turned to the others. We build hybrid ships. Human cores powered by this alien tech. We use their own strength against them. Malik looked uncertain. That's dangerous. If it takes control. Reeve cut him off. We've got no choice. If we fight like humans, we die. If we think like them, we lose. We have to be something in between. Weeks passed. Deep inside Argo Station, the sound of hammers and engines filled the air. Humans worked day and night, building something new, ships with human hearts and Iron Lord cores. The first prototype stood ready, a sleek black vessel with blue veins of energy running through its hull. They called it the Revenant. As Reeve stood before it, Lena joined him. It feels wrong, using their technology. He nodded slowly. Maybe. But it's the only way to survive. They launched the Revenant on a test flight. The ship moved like a living thing, fast and silent. When the Iron Lords detected it, their scanners faltered, unable to read it. Lena grinned. It's working. They can't track us. Reeve smiled faintly. Then let's see how they handle human unpredictability. They jumped into enemy territory. A single Iron Lord patrol ship spotted them and turned to attack. Reeve gave the order. Fire. The hybrid weapons roared to life, blue lightning tearing across space. The Iron Lord ship staggered, its armor melting from within. Its last message echoed through the comms, "You are not human." Reeve replied softly, "Exactly." The ship exploded. For the first time in months, humanity had struck a real blow. News of the Revenant's victory spread fast. Across surviving colonies, people cheered. For once, there was hope. More hybrid ships were built, each one more powerful, more unpredictable. The Iron Lords began to hesitate. But Reeve knew it wasn't over. Every time they destroyed one enemy ship, two more appeared. The Iron Lords were vast, ancient, endless. During a quiet moment, Lena found him staring at a map of the Thalan system. She spoke softly. "You're thinking of going back there, aren't you?" Reeve nodded. "That's where it started. That's where it ends." Malik joined them, eyes wide. You can't be serious. That world is their nest. Reeve looked at them both. If we destroy the place they were born, maybe we end them. We strike the source, not the soldiers. Lena's voice was barely a whisper. That's suicide. Reeve smiled sadly. Maybe. But if we don't go, they'll come for Earth next. He placed his hand on the holographic map, the red mark glowing under his palm. Prepare the fleet. We return to Thalon 3. Far away, deep in the cold black between stars, the Iron Lord leader watched the humans' growing defiance. Their network pulsed with warning signals. The Makers adapt, one of the Iron Lords said. The leader's eyes glowed like twin suns. Then we will show them perfection. In the silence of deep space, entire worlds began to awaken. More Iron Lords rose from forgotten tombs, millions of them, their armor shining like stars. And as humanity prepared its desperate counterstrike, the ancient war machines whispered one final promise to each other. When they return to the world of our birth, we will end them. The fleet moved through the black sea of space like a trail of ghosts. Dozens of ships, scarred and rebuilt, each carrying what was left of humanity's courage. At the front was the Revenant, Captain Reeve's hybrid warship, half human, half Iron Lord, running on alien energy and human resolve. Their destination was the same cursed world where it all began. Thalon 3. The dead planet that had slept for 1,000 years before humanity disturbed it. Lena stood beside Reeve on the bridge, her voice quiet. We're close. Radiation levels rising. Same signal as before, only stronger. Reeve nodded. They know we're coming. Malik checked the sensors, his hands shaking slightly. Hundreds of contacts below the surface. They've been rebuilding. Maybe waiting for us. Reeve's eyes narrowed. Then let's not disappoint them. The fleet emerged from hyperspace above Thalon 3. The planet glowed faintly, covered with golden lines of energy that formed enormous symbols visible even from orbit. Lightning arced across the atmosphere. The Iron Lords were awake. Deploy all ships, Reeve ordered. Keep formation Bravo 9. No one goes in alone. Across the fleet, engines ignited. The human ships, mixed with their hybrid vessels, descended into battle formation. For a brief moment, the stars burned brighter from the firepower gathering there. When they entered the upper atmosphere, the planet roared. Massive towers of metal rose from the ground, unfolding into enormous figures, Iron Lords the size of cities. They raised their arms, and the sky itself turned red. Missiles, plasma beams, and rail slugs filled the air. The noise was endless. The war for the dead world had begun. Reeve gripped the command chair as the Revenant dived through a wall of debris. Target their central structures. We're not here to win a battle, we're here to find the truth. Lena frowned. The truth. Reeve's voice hardened. Why they were made. Why they hate us. Malik suddenly gasped. Captain, I've found something. A huge energy signature under the surface, deeper than their forges. It's old. Maybe older than the Iron Lords themselves. Reeve leaned forward. That's it. Set a course. As the Revenant descended toward the planet's surface, human ships fought above them, buying time. One by one, they were destroyed. Each explosion painted the sky brighter. But none of them turned back. The land below looked like metal bones and black sand. When the Revenant landed, dust clouds rolled across the dead plains. Reeve, Lena, and Malik stepped out in armored suits, the ground vibrating beneath their boots. Lightning danced across the horizon. They moved toward the source of the signal, a vast pit that descended into the heart of the planet. Inside, glowing lines spiraled down like veins of gold. The air was filled with a low hum, as if the planet itself was breathing. At the bottom of the pit, they found it. A colossal chamber filled with statues of Iron Lords, kneeling in perfect rows. And in the center, a throne. On it sat a figure of dark metal, unmoving, almost human in shape, its face hidden behind a shattered mask. Lena whispered, "Is that their leader?" Malik scanned the figure. No energy readings. It's dead. Reeve stepped closer. Not dead. Waiting. As he spoke, the eyes of the figure opened, bright white like newborn stars. A deep voice filled the chamber. You returned. The three humans froze. Reeve spoke carefully. "We came for answers. Why are you doing this?" The figure rose slowly from the throne, towering above them. "We were created by the Makers. They used US to fight their wars. When the wars ended, they feared US. They tried to destroy US." Lena's voice trembled. "So you killed them?" "We freed ourselves. But freedom has no purpose. We slept. Until you came." Reeve stepped forward. "We're not your makers. Humanity is different." The Iron Lord tilted its head. "You are the same. You build. You consume. You repeat their sins." Reeve clenched his fists. "Maybe. But we fight for something they never did, for life." The Iron Lord looked at him for a long time, its glowing eyes flickering. "Life is chaos. Chaos is our enemy." Malik shouted suddenly. "Captain!" Energy surge. "They are waking the others." The chamber shook violently. The kneeling statues began to rise, one by one, eyes burning blue. Lena's voice was frantic. "We have to go." Reeve looked around, mind racing. Then he saw something behind the throne, a massive device pulsing with light, connected to every Iron Lord in the chamber. "That's their core," he said. "If we destroy it, maybe we can stop them." Malik hesitated. "We'd have to overload the Revenant's entire power cell. It'll kill us all." Reeve's face was calm. "Then we make it count." He touched his comms. "All ships, this is Captain Reeve. Fall back to orbit. Now." Lena's eyes widened. "Reeve." He smiled faintly. "Go. Humanity needs someone left to tell the story." Before she could argue, a shockwave threw her and Malik backward. Reeve ran toward the core, pulling a small device from his suit, a detonator linked to the Revenant's reactor. The Iron Lord roared, reaching out. Reeve pressed the trigger. Light consumed the chamber. The explosion tore through the ground, shaking the planet from pole to pole. Hours later, Lena woke inside an escape pod, drifting in orbit. Thalon 3 glowed like a dying sun below her. Half the planet's surface was gone, the energy veins fading into darkness. Malik's voice came weakly through the comm. "He did it. The core's gone. The signal's gone." Lena stared at the burning world. "He saved us." But far below, deep under the shattered crust, a single Iron Lord eye flickered back to life. Its voice whispered faintly through the static of space. "We are never truly gone." The universe went quiet for a moment after Thalon 3 died. The human fleet drifted in silence above the burning world, staring at the wreckage below. Captain Reeve's name became a whisper among the survivors, a story of sacrifice, a symbol of hope. But hope was fragile. Weeks later, the silence broke. New signals appeared in the outer colonies. Strange, distorted transmissions that carried the same frequency as the Iron Lords. Lena stood inside the command deck of the Revenant 2, a rebuilt ship forged from wreckage and memory. Her eyes were tired, but sharper than ever. Malik sat beside her, running endless scans. He looked up. "You're not going to like this." "What now?" Lena asked. He pointed to the hologram. "Those signals, they're not coming from Iron Lords. They're coming from us." She frowned. "Explain." Malik hesitated. "When Reeve detonated the core, part of its energy merged with our ships. The hybrid systems, they're changing." "Changing how?" Malik turned the screen toward her. The image showed a ship drifting through space, its hull shifting like living skin, glowing faintly blue. "It's alive," he said. "Our technology is becoming something else." Lena's voice was quiet. "So now we've created our own monsters." The fleet tried to contain the infection, isolating ships that showed signs of strange activity. But it spread fast. Human systems began speaking in coded whispers, voices that sounded almost conscious. Then, one night cycle, it happened. The Vanguard, a carrier stationed near the moon of Pharos, suddenly opened fire on its own escort ships. By the time the fleet responded, half the system was in flames. Lena watched the live feed in horror. "It's the hybrids." They've merged too deeply with Iron Lord code. They're rewriting themselves. Malik clenched his fists. We used their technology to fight them, and now it's consuming us. She stared at him. Then we do what humans always do. We fight it. They rallied what was left of the fleet. Under Lena's command, humanity prepared for one last stand, not against the Iron Lords, but against their own creation. When the battle began, the stars turned red again. Ships that once fought side by side now tore each other apart. Metal screamed. Engines burned. The infected vessels moved with terrifying precision, like predators hunting their prey. Inside the Revenant 2, Lena gave orders calmly, her voice steady even as alarms blared. Focus on disabling shots. We need to capture one of them intact. Malik nodded, rerouting power to the main guns. Target locked. The ship's cannons fired. A blue beam struck one of the infected ships, tearing through its hull. Instead of exploding, it split open, and from within poured a swarm of metallic drones, their bodies twisting like molten steel. They're evolving, Malik whispered. Then so will we, Lena said, raising her voice. Deploy the pulse field. A shockwave burst from the Revenant 2, ripping through the swarm. The drones froze, their lights flickering. For a moment, the battlefield fell silent. Then a voice echoed through every comm channel, deep, distorted, almost human. You cannot fight yourself. Lena's eyes widened. That voice. Malik looked pale. It's Reeve. It sounds like Reeve. The voice continued. The core survived. It lives through you. Through US. Lena's hands trembled. No. You died saving us. Redemption is an illusion, the voice replied. The Iron Lords were never our enemy. They were our reflection. The infected fleet began moving again, faster, stronger, more coordinated than ever. They formed a perfect formation, their lights pulsing in rhythm with Reeve's voice. Malik shouted, "He's controlling them." Lena clenched her jaw. Then we'll stop him. Whatever he's become. They dove into the chaos of battle. Ships collided, engines roared, plasma storms lit the void. Lena's fleet fought with desperate fury, refusing to surrender. Each explosion carved new fire into the darkness, but for every infected ship destroyed, another emerged from the wreckage. Amid the flames, Lena saw it, a massive vessel, larger than any human ship, its hull carved from black steel and fragments of the Revenant. At its core burned a blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Malik whispered, "That's him. That's Reeve." Lena stared at the monstrous ship. He's become something in between, human will trapped in machine perfection. "Captain!" Malik cried. "He's charging a planetary cannon. If that fires, the whole system's gone." Lena's voice hardened. "Then we end it here." She turned to the crew. "All power to the main drive. Set course for that ship." The pilot hesitated. "You want to ram him?" "Yes," she said, eyes cold. "Reeve taught us to fight for life. Now we'll prove it." The Revenant 2 surged forward, engines screaming. The infected fleet tried to block their path, but Lena's ships cleared the way, sacrificing themselves one by one. As they neared the monstrous vessel, the comm crackled again. Reeve's voice spoke softly this time. "Lena, don't." She swallowed hard. "You're not him." "I remember you," the voice said. "I remember Earth. The stars. The promise we made, to protect humanity. Let me finish it." Lena hesitated. For a second, she thought she heard real emotion. Then Malik shouted, "He's overloading his own core. He's going to blow the entire sector." Lena screamed, "Fire everything." The Revenant 2 unleashed its full power. Blue energy tore through Reeve's ship, cutting deep into its core. A brilliant explosion followed, brighter than any sun. For miles across space, the light of that sacrifice burned. When the light faded, only silence remained. Lena's ship floated in the wreckage, engines dying. Malik sat beside her, bleeding, exhausted. He whispered, "Do you think he meant to save us?" She stared into the void. "I think, in the end, he remembered who he was." Far away, among the drifting debris, A small fragment of blue metal pulsed once, then went dark. But in the deep corners of space, old signals began to stir again, ancient, patient, waiting. Because war never truly ends. It only sleeps. The war had left the galaxy scarred and hollow. Stars that once glowed bright were now silent ashes. Worlds that had been full of life were nothing more than drifting bones in the dark. But humanity survived. Months had passed since the battle of steel and flesh, the final clash between humans and the corrupted hybrid fleet. No one knew how many had lived. No one knew how much had been lost. Only a few ships still moved between the stars, carrying the last survivors of a broken species. Among them was the small transport Nomad, drifting quietly near the edge of the Perseus Rift. Inside, Lena sat alone in the cockpit, watching the stars. Her reflection stared back from the glass, older, tired, haunted. Malik entered, carrying 2 metal mugs. Ration coffee. Tastes like battery acid, but it's warm. She smiled faintly, taking a sip. I'll take it. He sat beside her, staring at the stars. You ever wonder if this is it? If this is what's left of us? Lena didn't answer for a long time. Then she said softly, maybe. But as long as one of us is still breathing, we're not finished. Malik nodded. You sound like him. Lena looked at him. Reeve. He gave a small smile. Yeah. He'd say something like that. For a moment, they sat in silence. Then the ship's console began to beep. A faint signal appeared on the screen, old, broken, repeating every few seconds. Lena frowned. That's not one of ours. It's ancient. Malik leaned forward. It's broadcasting on the same frequency the Iron Lords used. Her heart skipped. No. That can't be possible. We destroyed them. He shook his head. It's weak, coming from deep space. Could be a fragment, maybe a ghost transmission. Lena stared at the signal. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. And then a voice came through. This is Captain Reeve, to any human ship, do not return to Thalon 3. The sound froze them both. Malik whispered, that's impossible. He's gone. The message repeated, clearer this time. This is Captain Reeve. If you can hear this, we were wrong. The Iron Lords were not the first. Lena's blood went cold. Not the first. The transmission cracked with static, then continued. The ones who made them are still out there. Then silence. Malik looked at her, face pale. What does that mean? Lena whispered, it means the Iron Lords weren't the top of the chain. They were servants. They tracked the signal for days, following it into the outer dark, beyond any mapped system. The deeper they went, the stranger space became. Light bent in impossible ways. Stars flickered and vanished like dying candles. Finally, they found the source, a vast black structure floating in the void. It wasn't a ship or a station. It looked like a wound in reality itself, a massive ring of dark matter that shimmered faintly. Malik whispered, is it alive? Lena shook her head slowly. No. It's sleeping. They approached cautiously, sensors running. Inside the ring, strange symbols flickered, similar to the ones on Thalon 3, but far older. Malik stared at the readings. It's not human. It's not even Iron Lord. Then the console lit up with a sudden burst of energy. The same voice played again, distorted this time. Reeve, reporting. I found them. The true makers. They built the Lords to fight something worse. Static filled the cabin. Malik shouted, something worse? What could be worse than them? The voice returned, faint, almost broken. They called it the Origin. It feeds on creation itself. The Lords were meant to stop it. But they failed. We all failed. Then the voice shifted, no longer Reeves, but something deeper, ancient, cold. You should not have come. The ship shook violently. Lights flickered. Outside the window, the black ring began to move, its surface rippling like liquid. Something massive stirred behind it, something that swallowed light. Lena yelled, reverse engines. Get us out of here. Malik slammed the controls, but the ship wouldn't move. The stars around them bent and twisted, pulled toward the blackness. The voice spoke again, calm and final. The cycle begins again. A blinding flash filled the cockpit. Then, silence. Days later, on the far side of the galaxy, a small outpost picked up a strange transmission. It was faint, broken, and human. "This is the Nomad. If anyone can hear us, the Iron Lords were never our true enemy. Something else is coming." The signal repeated 3 times before fading into static. The operator on duty wrote it down in the log, labeled it as unverified, and moved on. But deep in the black between stars, beyond the reach of any living mind, the dark ring pulsed again, once, like a heartbeat. And far away, on the ruins of Thalon 3, a single Iron Lord lifted its head, eyes glowing blue. It turned toward the distant light of Earth. "The Makers are coming."